to Insert Art.
Today, me and Ariel are going to be drawing some Pokemon, but we're going to add a little bit of a twist, and we're going to draw Pokemon as humans with the help of our sponsor, JustSketch.me.
So we're gonna do 2 Pokemon as human each, so we'll have 4 total.
So I think we're going to have one round where we get to choose our own Pokemon and we get to choose our own pose from JustSketch.me, but then one round where it's going to be randomly generated. And you get what you get, and we're just going to have to deal with it.
Yeah. On our previous video, a couple of people commented because I introduced myself as the Magikarp of the team. People said they want to see me drawn as a Magikarp, so I think that'll be one of the 4.
I want to see that too. The fact that Ariel is a mermaid as well, like it's so fitting. Ariel
the little Magikarp. How about we flip a coin for it? We randomly generate who has to draw Ariel the Magikarp.
I think you can draw that one. Okay. I think you're more familiar with Pokemon than I am.
Okay.
So today's video is sponsored by JustSketch.me, which is an amazing reference resource for artists who may be struggling with poses or anatomy or gesture. But we are going to be talking about all of the features of JustSketch.me later on in the video. And I think right now we're just going to have a play and we're going to show you how we use references in our art process. So for our first Pokemon, Ariel has chosen Magikarp. She's gonna draw a self-portrait as a Magikarp. Everyone knows I'm not a Pokemon expert, but I was talking to Morgan yesterday and he was telling me about Scorbunny.
I don't even know that.
You don't know Scorbunny?
I'm old.
Even I know Scorbunny.
I only know the 151. I'm a purist.
He's a starter Pokemon and it's just a really cute bunny playing soccer. And I'm like, hell yeah, I want to draw that. So I think I'm gonna go with Scorbunny for my first Pokemon as a person.
Cool.
So starting off with Scorbunny, I knew I wanted to draw them in a really dynamic soccer pose since they're like a soccer playing bunny, right? So luckily, JustSketch.me has all these pre-made poses that you can just select from the pose library. So instead of spending ages meticulously handcrafting a pose, I could literally just select it from the pose library and it was perfect. After tweaking the depth of field and a few other settings, it was ready to go into Photoshop. So as you can see, that was super quick and I am already ready to start sketching. So I decided to draw Scorbunny as a girl. One, because I knew my other character was going to be male, so I thought it'd be nice to get a bit of variety. Secondly, and most importantly, I thought I could draw Scorbunny's ears as 2 ponytails on the top of my character's head, and I thought that worked really well. I made sure to keep the legs really skinny and the feet nice and big to still retain those sort of rabbity proportions. In terms of design, I kind of wanted to go for a combination of all the evolutions of Scorbunny. So the hair/ears were very reminiscent of the first evolution, Scorbunny. And I also added a band-aid on her nose to sort of capture that initial design. And then in terms of clothes, I sort of referenced Reboot, who is the second evolution. And I used his clothing design. He sort of looks like he's got some sort of jacket or parka covering his face. So I kind of wanted to include that. And then for the final evolution, it's super subtle, but I just wanted to include that super anime mouth to sort of give her this focused but aggressive expression. And after finally working out what a soccer ball looks like, I didn't realize it has pentagons and hexagons, which is just extra confusing, but I got there eventually. I just added some simple lighting with some color dodge and multiply layers and a very simple background, and I was all done. So I was really happy with how mine turned out, and then I looked over at Ariel's screen and you guys are just gonna have to watch this for yourselves because it is too good.
Oh man, I never thought I would be doing fan service in this way, but
already it's like what, your 3rd video or something? And you've already got your own character now.
Oh no. Right, so fans, this is for you. You made me do this. So we're gonna do Ariel the little Magikarp. I first broke down the basic elements of Magikarp. It looked like I just dissected him on a table, really. I wanted to get a feel for the colors and the shapes. I looked at poses, but when I Googled Magikarp, I came across a photo I could not resist and ended up using that as my reference. So I had to manually pose JustSketch.me.
Yeah, so you really went in and manually changed every single joint of
your
character.
Look, it's highly customizable. It does take you a little while to get into like any new tool, but the range of motion of the joints is like you can literally do anything with them.
That's incredible. I like how precise you can get to that exact Magikarp pose that you wanted.
So we'll show you. This is the Magikarp photo I was referencing, and then I posed that into justsketch.me. In the end, yep, just went with this super awkward pose. The next thing I did was to do some color iterations just to see what was going to work best. All right, so went with the last one, decided to add in a scarf here, just accentuated that movement of Magikarp's whiskers, along with the like awkwardly posed arms.
I love how like floppy and awkward you look in this
Thank
fantastic pose. You're really encapsulating Magikarp.
Bro, this was never gonna be a dignified project. So I just had to embrace it, lean in all the way, make it as awkward as possible.
I think you've succeeded in
Thank
that.
you, thank you. Yeah, from here it was just a matter of blocking in colors. And I know that if you're gonna do cell shading, you should be a lot tighter with your line art, but also with time pressure and me just being a little bit lazy, just kind of slap things in. I don't know, I don't have a fixed process. This is just what I've done by default, maybe coming from my Copic marker background.
I think even if you did have a fixed process, it would completely just go to the wind with this particular project.
Yeah, so once I got most of the Magikarp Ariel in, I decided to turn it into like a classic looking The Little Mermaid poster. So pulled in, you know, those classic colors and a similar font.
This is so perfect. I have been pissing myself watching you do this.
I was in pain the whole time making this.
Every time I looked over, it just got better and better. Like you've got that perfect splash from that one scene where Ariel's like sitting on the rock, except you're just like flopping over this rock like a fish out of water.
Okay, I was just using the awkwardness of this entire piece as an excuse to not refine it too much. I was like, whatever makes it look more cartoony, more derpy, it's gonna amp up the vibe. So chucked in a little bit of detail on the rock and the water and the splash. That's all I really have to say. I know, like, of all the ways that I imagined I would sell my soul one day, this was not it. So this is for you guys.
So we finished those two artworks in about like 2 hours. So you can already see how much quicker and easier it is to create art with just sketch.me.
I don't think I could have drawn that Magikarp pose from scratch.
Oh, me either. It is so quick and so easy. It's not a 3D modeling tool, but it is an amazing resource for any artist who is looking to improve their work.
What was your favorite thing about it?
I absolutely love that there was a huge pose library where you can just pick ready-made poses. If the pose isn't exactly what you want, you can always make little alterations to it. As an artist, I spent hours scrolling on Pinterest.
Even you?
Yes,
Really?
even me, just trying to find the perfect reference for every character that I draw, and using justsketch.me instead saved me hours of work.
JustSketch.me is free to use and available on pretty much any device and any platform.
And it doesn't just have human poses. They've also got dragons and werewolves and mermaids and elephants and pretty much anything that you can think of or anything that you would need in your art.
If you'd like to try it, link is in the description. Let us know what you think.
And tag us in any cool artwork that
Yes.
you make with it. We would love to see. So for our second round, we are going to be randomly generating which Pokemon we're going to draw.
Do you want to go first?
Yes.
You got Farfetch'd. It's a bird
Farfetch'd.
with like a leak.
A leak?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that is so cool.
My turn.
Oh my god.
Yes, okay, let's do this. Pinsir. All right, so we've got a male Farfetch'd and a male Pinsir.
Let's do it. So I actually found a pose on justsketch.me that was absolutely perfect. It was exactly the same as the official art for Farfetch'd. So after sketching a bird-like nose and his signature monobrow, I decided to do a little bit of research, and I read the wiki page for Farfetch'd. And what it said was that Farfetch'd was super protective of his leek. In fact, he actually can't live without his leek.
Oh.
And he also holds this leek as if it was a weapon. And these two ideas made me think of a knight. And suddenly it all came together. I pictured the 3 tufts of feathers as like a Roman helmet with like the feathers on the top. And his grey colour could be like the grey of the armour. I even included the shield that his evolution carries. So once I got the details finished, it was super easy to just colour pick from the official Pokemon art, add some nice gradients to resemble the leek and resemble the shield. And of course, what would Farfetch'd be without his signature golden feet? So I decided to give this knight some golden shoes.
I love how the toes are split, kind of like the little ducky feet.
Yeah, that was entirely intentional. I was going to do 3 splits, but then I thought it might look a little bit weird. So I just gave him these like pointed toes that are very reminiscent of duck feet. I'm so glad you noticed that.
What's your thought process behind like where you put the lighter greens compared to the darker greens?
So I was thinking that how in like traditional Roman armor, sometimes the color of the feathers don't always match the color of the cloth because they're made of different materials. So I decided to just change the color a little bit.
But somehow like the lights and darks actually bring your focus in towards the middle.
Yeah, exactly. So against a white background, the lighter colors had less contrast than the darker colors. So that's why I sort of saved the lighter greens to the edges of the character, if that makes sense. So at the very top and the very bottom, got this nice lighter color that sort of allows the darker greens to draw your eye towards the face and towards the center of the body.
It's almost like a reverse vignette.
Exactly, yeah.
So instead of having dark on the outside and then bright in the middle, you've just flipped that.
That's a great way to put it. And then I cheated a little bit. I just stole the background that I did for Scorbunny and changed the hue a little bit and made it a little bit lighter just to make the piece look a little bit more finished.
That's how you go so fast.
It's my secret, don't tell anyone.
Just all of YouTube.
Done. I hope you guys like them. Let me know what you think in the comments. And last but not least,
we've got Pinsir. Okay, it was getting late in the day, so rather than play around too much with poses, I decided I would go with one of the pre-mades in justsketch.me. If you Google Pinsir, he's very static and he pretty much just stands like either looking up or down, and his arms are pretty much just like out to the side. It's a very like come at me bro sort of thing. So I didn't waste time doing iterations with this, so I just decided to dive straight in. So once I got the exact angle I wanted, I just went in and blocked the main colors and values. I decided that that huge mouth of Pinsir was just gonna be, you know, his black t-shirt showing through, gray jacket on top, and all those 10 huge teeth were gonna just be like buckles.
They kind of look like ribs or something, so it's quite fitting that you put them on the body.
He's like an ex-con sort of, hangs out in the alleyways. A challenge here was that there's just so much gray on Pinsir, and how do I keep that interesting visually? I did that by having sort of grayed out brownish pants, and then keeping his skin tone also a bit grayish, but again, you don't want skin to look dead. So on top of those grayish skin tones, I would add pops of color where it really mattered. So your typical like 3 color zones of the face, so lots of red in the middle, across the cheeks and the nose, bluish or even slightly greenish where there's stubble, and then more yellow towards the top.
It's very much a balancing act of saturation versus desaturation, but I think you've accomplished that really well.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, another place that's really good to add red saturation in skin is fingertips, so anywhere where there's more blood.
I did that with my Scorbunny.
Did you?
I did that as well, yeah.
Nice.
Great minds think alike.
I think I need to be more disciplined. Like if I'm gonna put in line art, I should be tidy about it and then be tidy about putting in base colors, because that will save me time further down the process.
Usually I spend like no time at all doing the line art, and I just make it look really crap because I know that I don't have time to get into painting, especially with these like timed challenges. I deliberately focus on the line art much more just because I know I'm not going to get to that stage.
So that's your tip. If you're pressed for time, focus your attention on the line art because that sets you up better for later.
That's my tip of the day.
I'll try that next time. I don't like doing backgrounds, but I just felt like this was a guy you would encounter like in a red brick alley, kind of like steps out of the shadows, there's garbage on the floor, and he's like, hey, you want to fight?
Oh yeah, he absolutely looks like he's going to mug me.
I wanted his legs, or his feet at least, to look sort of chunky because Pinsir's got, you know, big shoulders, skinny arms, slightly thicker forearms, so I tried to put that in his proportions. And his legs are just really stocky, so I figured Timberland boots would work for that. And also he's got gray claws coming out of the rest of his body, so I've put, you know, silverish toe caps on his boots. So background-wise, normally I wouldn't bother with this at all, especially not making a brick wall. Alicia told me which brush to just kind of stamp and then warp into perspective. But I just felt it was a part of his character, that he's in this alleyway and that he probably just hangs out in there smoking and, you know, sitting on a crumpled trash can.
Oh, absolutely. And it is so aerial to like put together a whole scene rather than just a character.
thanks.
I knew for sure that you would have thought about this character's backstory in so much depth.
You know what? I don't plan it. Sometimes they just, like, I just see it playing out in my head while I'm drawing.
They just speak to you.
They
so
do.
clearly.
They actually do.
I love the super harsh lighting. It's almost as if there's like a police car or a torch or something shining at him. Like he's just been caught. He's just escaped from prison or something.
Yes.
And the police are like,
oh, I love
hold
that.
it.
See, they speak to you too.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was about this character that made me want to go high contrast. Because like that shadow I put in really early on, that's not something I would typically do. But with him, it just seemed to fit.
You've got the exact expression of Pinsir as well. He's got like the angry triangle eyes and like the gnarled teeth, like perfect.
So just making sure the silhouette read well, making sure there was enough contrast.
I think what's most important is that you've got the character design there, you've got a sense of story, and you've got all of your ideas on the page. Even then, I still think it looks pretty finished and pretty awesome.
Thanks, Alicia. Means a lot coming from someone like you. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the Pokémon and enjoyed experimenting with JustSketch.me. It was my first time using it today.
Me
Was it
too.
yours?
I'm
Yeah?
definitely using it again, and I'm definitely incorporating it into my art process from now on.
And thank you to our Patreons.
It is thanks to our lovely Patreons that we get to draw awesome art like this every day and create awesome content. It's actually in our Patreon that Ariel and I and Morgan and Kat and Jazza go into far more depth about poses and anatomy and all of those super helpful art tips that you need in your art journey. So do consider becoming a Patreon. If not for the tutorials and masterclasses and all the awesome stuff that we do, then just to help us along and let us continue creating awesome art like this.
Come hang out with us on Discord. See you in the next video.
Insert out.
Insert-
No. I love that. I was so confident as well.
I love it.